This episode was built around Monsters Ball featuring PCO and KON. So if you wonder why I'm a little bit down on TNA, I think you have your answer. Because I didn't feel like this was a bad episode, and honestly, that match at some point it does pick up a little bit, but like not good. Like they're actively putting out something that they know is bad, putting it in the main event because they don't fucking care what you think. But they have Yellowbone saying KON is good, so they're like, okay, look here, this guy, this one person likes it, so here we will put it there. So, okay. All right, let's get into let's go ahead and get into the show. Impact open with Hammerstone and Josh Alexander beating the hell out of each other. So this is a great way to start the episode with my two favorite guys in the company. And Steve Macklin. I don't want to leave out Steve, but they open with Hammerstone and Alexander beating the hell out of each other, and with Alexander being busted open as security attempted to intervene, but weren't very successful. Tommy Dreamer made his way to ringside to calm Alexander down, tell him to get out of there. And then Dreamer gets his fat ass into the ring, cuts a shitty promo, doing the Gettysburg Address again, like this super impassioned, like nobody cares about what you're saying promo to Hammerstone, so that they were in front of the best fans in the world, and Hammerstone was in TNA Wrestling because of him. Dreamer told Hammerstone that there was too much going on tonight for them to be brawling before Rebellion. Dreamer told Hammerstone to head to the back, but as Tommy was heading out of the ring, Hammerstone hit him from behind and put him up in the torture rack in what I would call the greatest feat of strength in the history of wrestling. Never seen anything like it. This is right up there with like Mark Henry lifting a vehicle. So, but yeah, he got Tommy Dreamer, or Tummy Dreamer, as Lucha Doncic would say. Tummy. He got Tummy up in the torture rack. And I love the torture rack. I think Hammerstone needs to start using the burning hammer though, so you can get him up in the torture rack and then just fucking do the flip thing, the reverse, Kenta Kobashi burning hammer. I think they should go with it. I think that would be cool. And his name's Hammerstone, so why wouldn't you use the burning hammer as your finish? He also has the Nightmare Pendulum, but I think like torture rack and burning hammer combo would be good. I think that would be perfect. Okay, and then the show kind of falls off a cliff here. We got Crazy Steve. Crazy Steve defeated Laredo Kid by disqualification and retained the digital media title. So Laredo Kid hasn't won a goddamn match, but he does an interview with Tom Hannafin, and so now he's got a title shot, and he loses, or he went. He loses by disqualification. I get the feeling they're going to run this back. Oh, and Crazy Steve, looking for bookings during Under Siege weekend. I think Laredo's getting this title because I don't think Crazy Steve's going to be around much longer. I think his deal's probably coming up, and they're not going to keep him around. So, the match wasn't good. The finish was wonky. They're trying to do something with Laredo Kid, but the one thing that they're not trying to do is get him to win matches. Because who is he going to beat? They don't want him to beat anybody. so he ends up getting disqualified here. But he'll probably beat Steve, and then Steve is going to go back to NWA or wherever he's going to go. I don't know. But I hope he sticks around. I like Crazy Steve. I'm like one of the few people that's like, I kind of dig Crazy Steve's mask and character, and I like his theme song, and I dig the whole thing. So I like Steve. I don't want to see Steve go, but look, he's like begging for bookings during Under Siege weekend when he has a contract with a company that happens to be working that same weekend. So it tells me that things aren't going great there. Then it was announced that Against All Odds this year would take place at Cicero Stadium in Chicago, Illinois on Friday, June 14th. The tickets going on sale Saturday, April 20th. I'm going to make a prediction. MLW is going to outdraw Impact in that same stadium. And I think they run it in like April or May. I think it might be like it's coming up here pretty soon, but MLW is bringing in CMLL talent. And so they're going to have all their guys, but like a lot of the top CMLL people are going to be there too. And they're probably going to pack that place out, and they're definitely going to outdraw TNA, despite the fact that TNA has a written agreement that we have not seen play out. We have not, other than Vikingo, we have not seen another, and Laredo Kid, obviously, we have not seen another AAA talent on the show, but they have an agreement with AAA, and they just haven't used it, or that was fake, and which I'm thinking was probably fake. But yeah, I think MLW is going to outdraw them, honestly. And backstage, Alex Shelley apologized to Chris Sabin and Kushida for wanting to do a thing on his own, and then said the Time Machine was much greater as a unit. Sabin and Kushida accepted his apology and agreed with him. So that whole 2-month storyline that they had going on, it's over. Well, because they're leaving next week. Now, First Class, they go on to defeat ABC in what I thought was a pretty damn good match. I liked this match. And, you know, we could say whatever we want about AJ Francis, but I thought he held his own in the match. I thought it was very good. He works good with these smaller guys. They make him look like a monster, and which is good. And so I thought it was awesome. And then, you know, Rich Swann got the distraction roll up, pull the tights victory, which is fine. Like, I hate the finish typically, but I thought it was fine in this match. I think Swann looks good as a heel here, and I think he's kind of found some new life, and so that's good because he's been spinning his wheels for a long time. Here's the problem. Afterwards, Joe Hendry comes out, calls Francis Uncle Phil, gets some cheap heat there, and the crowd goes crazy for it. And they set up a match between Hendry and Swann. So that doesn't make any sense. They form this new tag team. They give them a win over the former tag team champions, and at the pay-per-view, they're going to do a singles match with Joe Hendry and Rich Swann. And that's not even the feud. The feud is AJ Francis. I know Rich Swann, turned on him, whatever, but the feud is AJ and Hendry, and it's been going on since Hard to Kill. And it started at Hard to Kill in Las Vegas. And we're still not getting the payoff to the feud. It would be better if Hendry had a tag team partner and they did First Class versus Hendry and a tag team partner. But instead, we're getting Hendry versus Swann. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why are we creating a new tag team and then on the pay-per-view putting them in a singles match? Doesn't make any sense to me. It's like right hand, left hand. They don't know what they're doing. Backstage, Santino Marella was met by Ash by Elegance and George Iceman. They say that Ash was ready for a knockout title match at Rebellion, but instead of agreeing to make it happen, Marella left him hanging. So they said, hey, look, their replacement won the match, so she should get the title shot. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. Backstage, Ali was with the Grizzly Young Vets, and Ali vented that his match at Rebellion should not be taking place before Jake something interrupted and stated that the match was indeed going to take place. And then Jordan Grace and Steph DeLander have their contract signing. This was okay. I don't really like contract signings that are too played out, and I didn't really feel like it was necessary here. But I guess, you do got to build Steph DeLander because nobody gives a fuck about her. She's not been on TV. She's never won any matches on TV except for the one. So I think she won a match in Australia. So, and nobody cares about her. So I had to bring in Matt Cardona to kind of give her some heat. But I thought that Jordan Grace had a good line here. Grace put over her own accomplishments before Cardona took offense to Jordan's claim about digital media title. DeLander then stated that they didn't have enough time to talk about all of her accomplishments, but Grace countered by saying that she's beaten her before, beaten her boyfriend before, and then beaten her boyfriend's wife before. And I thought that was a pretty good line. And then as Cardona was going nuts and the fans were chanting the B word, Grace finally signed the contract. Grace and DeLander shook hands, but as the aggression was high, a brawl ensued naturally. And after Morella was knocked down and out, DeLander put Grace through a table before posing with the title. And of course, Matt Cardona was attacking Grace too. So I think it was okay. I don't think it's going to do anything to get anybody interested in the match. I really don't, but I could be wrong. Backstage, Masha Slamovich was interrupted by the system, and Eddie Edwards stated that her and Alicia could make a great tag team. Slamovich then gave them an answer in Russian and left. I hope that her tag team partner ends up being Miyu Yamashita. I think that would be a viable team. But yeah. Then a video. This was good. A video promo aired focusing on Jonathan Gresham in a boardroom full of people, reflecting on the masks he wears in life. So talking about his personal mask, his mask to the ring, and all of that. I don't know where this is going, but hopefully we get there soon. They have an uphill battle to make Jonathan Gresham interesting again. Because when he came back, there was nothing interesting about him. I was like, hey, this guy's a really good wrestler. Okay. Like a lot of people are. So where's the money? So hopefully we're getting somewhere. And then we get to the next match. Moose beat the shit out of Trent Seven. I like that. I don't think Trent Seven should be winning matches in this company. So, and Moose just beat the shit out of him. Trent Seven's one of the most physically unimpressive wrestlers I've ever seen. He looks like if we were in like Mid-Atlantic in 1980s, he would definitely be standing in the ring, waiting for Ole Anderson to come down and beat the fuck out of him. So, got some charisma though. After the match, the System entered the ring and looking to do more damage, but Mike Bailey entered the ring as well. Bailey was cornered quickly, and after he managed to hold his own for a second or so, the System was on the attack. Before they could inflict too much damage, Time Machine hit the ring to make the save. Backstage, Santino Marella was interrupted by the System, who were angry about what just took place. Marella stated that the System would defend the World Tag Team titles next week against the Machine Guns, and the winners would battle Speedball Mountain at Rebellion. Marella was then interrupted by Decay, who stated they wanted their rematch for the Knockouts World Tag Team titles at Rebellion, at which Marella agreed. So we only have 2 tag teams, so naturally one of them has to get a title shot, and it was the former champions, Decay. And then we go. So I like this whole next segment. I think they've been building. So like my favorite feud in TNA right now is Hammerstone and Alexander. Like I really like that one. My second favorite is Ali and Something. So we get to Jake Something defeating James Drake. Something immediately uses power game early. Yeah, he beats him up, fairly easily, I would say. It wasn't like a squash, but it was like a glorified squash. After Something had Drake set up in the corner, he went to the opposite corner, but Gibson grabbed the leg, allowing Drake to hit a running drop kick. Gibson then followed up by choking Something with a scarf as Drake distracted the referee. This was enough to ignite Cody Deaner, who hit ringside to even up the odds. Deaner took out Gibson, and Something followed up by nailing Drake with Into the Void to get the 1, 2, 3. And then after the match, I thought this was cool. Mustafa Ali came down with a bunch of protesters. Because the protesters were protesting the fact that Something is in the division because he's too big. I just think that's funny. Like it's like a good heel thing to do. So they're coming down to ringside to protest, and as they come down to ringside, Jake Something dove over the top rope out on everybody, and then grabbed Ali himself, and then the young vets would recover. However, and nail Something with grit your teeth, and Deaner attempted to make the save, but after he was taken out, Something was finished off as well. And Ali and the Grizzly Young Vets proved to be too powerful. So I like the whole segment. They're doing a good job of making Jake Something look like a monster and a viable contender to Ali. I think Ali keeps the title, but I think the match is going to be very good. And then we get to the main event. And I don't know what they're thinking, man. So I'm going to start with the positives. There's 2 positives. After a while of being dreadful, I did feel like towards the end the match had picked up just because they were like hurting each other, right? These 2 guys, they're not very mobile, but KON did some dangerous stuff, and then and obviously PCO did a bunch of dangerous stuff, and then they did the thumbtacks, that whole gimmick, and they falling on the apron and killing themselves. So they did that like towards the end. I thought that was kind of like exciting. But it just took a while to get to that point. Here's the ultimate positive. I think that KON might be done because they did 3 matches and KON lost 3 times. So, because I think they did the match at no, I think they only did 2 matches. Yeah, because they did 1 match where it was where KON got disqualified, and then they did another match and PCO beat him, and then this was the 3rd, I think. I could be wrong, but I think they did 3, and I think BQ brought this up in our Brace for Impact chat that they wrestled 3 times and KON lost all 3 times. Well, KON should not have been winning, so they did the DQ to get to the second one, and once they got to the second one, it should have been over at that point, or they should have went straight to Monsters Ball. But what they did need to do was drag it out another month, and then do a main event Monsters Ball between the guys, because nobody ever had any interest in this to begin with. Ratings are down, ticket sales are fucking dead, and this is the shit that you guys put on your TV, and you wonder why you're in the state that you're in. That's just, like, you get what you deserve at that point. You deserve to lose when you do that. So, but the match did pick up at the end. I do think KON is gone. So add him to the list of people that are out with this new regime. Dango was not in Philly. He hasn't been around in a while. Oleg, clearly gone. I think we're going to see a lot of those guys move to the, off the roster page here pretty soon. and maybe we'll get some new fresh blood. I talked about the tag team last week, Saint and Sinner, or Jobber and Taint is what BQ would call them. Mike Santana very clearly going to be at Rebellion. They should probably go ahead and announce that, get some type of excitement. I don't think that you need to get the excitement pop for him. Just announce it. Announce that he will be there. You don't need to work that thing because you got to get people in that building, right? And he might be able to get some people a little bit excited. But he's not a draw either. And if they got Matt Riddle, if they got Camille, they might want to just announce that. And if they're going to be there at Rebellion, they might want to just announce it and tell everybody.